And welcome back to another Paul's Aquariums video. In this video I'm going to show you how easy it is to maintain an aquarium like this. We're going to go through the filtration, how to keep all these plants alive, and what you need to do weekly. And the filtration in this fish tank is an Oase Biomaster 250. These will do up to 250 litre aquarium, so they're a little bit of an overkill for the 60 centimetre tank, but they are an awesome filter. German made, they have the little heater inside them as well, so if you've got a tropical tank, you can have the heater inside the filter and not inside the tank. And they have a pre-filter. I've got a full video on how to set up this filter and how to pull it apart, all the bits and pieces and stuff like that. There'll be a link at the end of this video with this. But that is the full filtration and heating for this aquarium. Once a month we check the pre-filter, which is just turning off the canister filter, switching that switch there, switching that switch, and then pulling this up. And then that just tells us if the canister needs cleaning or not. Next to it, we have a CO2 system. This is a full DYMAX CO2 system. Again, I've got a video on the setup of this, so if you're interested in that, there'll be a link at the end of this video. But that is giving us carbon gas, which is feeding all our plants. So to grow plants like this, you need a decent light, and we have a Rex LED on top. So this is a 60 centimeter Rex LED from DYMAX. We have active substrate. So the substrate in this is your aqua earth, and that will feed the plants from their roots. You'll get the light from the light. Obviously you get the light from the light, the CO2 from that, and we also give them a liquid fertilizer. So now we've got the basics of what the system is like. Water quality, and this little drop checker here is telling us what the pH is of the water, as well as how much CO2 we've got in there. So we want it on a green color, and that tells us our pH is going to be hovering about 6.87, which is the ideal range for these South American tetras and Southeast Asian fish. Fish in this tank consist of around about 25 green neon tetras. Green neon tetras are like a neon, but a different species, and they've got that greeny blue tinge to them. A little bit smaller than a normal neon tetra, but that's about the only difference. Slightly different color variation. They still come from South America, the same as the neons do. I do have flying foxes from Southeast Asia. These are brilliant little algae eaters, but they will get too big for this tank. So Siamese flying foxes will get around that 20 centimeters, and fish 20 centimeters in a 60 centimeter tank generally doesn't work as a rule, especially in a planted tank. So these guys are only going to be in here for about 6 months or so, then we're going to swap them for smaller ones again. But they are brilliant for eating algae, especially hair algae, nuisance algae like that. Another fish we have in this tank is an Otto catfish. They are a South American suckerfish, and they are perfect. You can see a little one darting around there, nibbling away on that rock right now. They are a schooling fish, so you want to get a group of them. I think we've got about half a dozen in this tank, but they will just spend their whole entire time eating algae and biofilm off the rocks, off the plants, and they won't damage any plants unless the plants are actually dying off themselves. So a brilliant little sucker fish if you want something for a planted tank like this. So now we've got the basics of the livestock. This tank has been set up for about 4 or 5 months now. So the main maintenance with it is a little 10% water change. The new water that we put in, we adjust the pH. So double check what that is. We want to bring the pH down to about 6.5 to 6.8 and dechlorinate the water. Smaller water changes weekly generally are a lot more stable than doing larger water changes every month or two. And the reason you do the water changes is to break down your nitrites, which is your end chemical process, but it's also going to add trace elements and minerals back into the water. So that's why we are doing small 10% water changes. There's a huge thing about water changes online. Some people will do large water changes. Some people say you never need to do a water change. To maintain a tank, super easy. A small percentage weekly works a lot better than random amounts every now and then. Apart from the water changes and filter cleans, all we do to maintain this tank is to trim all the plants. Now this is Hemianthus, which is a carpeting plant. Same idea as Cuba and Monte Carlo, which are common plants. This one does grow a little bit taller than the others. Another common name is pearlweed, but unfortunately throughout the whole world, there's different names for different plants. Hemianthus is the common name for it, but you can call it technically what you want. We're going to give it a lovely trim. We're going to trim it down about in half or so. If you are local, we do sell cuttings of this plant, and we've also got tissue culture plants at the moment if you want carpeting plants. When we started out, it was probably about 20 or so little strands on the bottom, and it's taken a few months to grow. We've trimmed it about maybe once every 6 weeks since this tank's been set up. So this is about the 3rd or 4th time we're trimming it. So let's get started and trim this tank. We have a slightly murky tank. Obviously we have to turn the filter back on, and now the little Otto sinklets are getting to all the areas they couldn't get before. It's probably going to take a couple of weeks for this to fully grow back up into a big nightmare again. But you get an idea of the layout now. So on with the filter and watch the mess. And because I've cleaned the pre-filter out, we have all the gunk in the pipes pushing back into the tank. That's probably going to take about half an hour or so to clear up, and then we're back to a lovely clean tank. So we're going to ignore this for tonight and we're going to jump till the morning. And it is the next morning and we have a lovely carpet back again. So as I said, it's going to take a little while for this to grow back, but that is pretty much the only maintenance we do. I also clean the front glass. Just a simple magnet cleaner will clean the front glass. But that is it, 10% water change once a week, add your fertilizer a couple of times a week, CO2, decent lighting. The substrate in the bottom is going to last for about 2 years before you need to add supplements to the substrate as well, but you can use that with any tablet fertilizer. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you've got any questions about this tank or maintenance, comment down below, I'll get back to you. If you want to see more videos like this, click the thumbs up so I know, and we'll see you in the next one.